Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue, and you probably can tell where I'm at. I'm right here at Saucon Valley Country Club, just outside of Bethlehem, where next year, the 2022 U.S. Senior Open will be played here at Saucon Valley. It was 30 years ago, 1992, that Larry Loretti won the Senior Open that year. Remember Larry, straw hat, the cigar? Well, it was the only event he ever won in his professional career, but he did it right here at Saucon Valley. Saucon Valley has hosted, counting next year, 8 USGA events, and the latest one will be here at Saucon Valley in 2022. We'll be talking with Mimi Griffin. Mimi is a member at Saucon Valley, but she also has been promoting and handling things like corporate hospitality, sales, and marketing for the USGA and all of its events for some time now. And next year, she'll be on her home course at Saucon Valley, which is where it began in 1992 for her. Also, Dave Kennedy, former president of Saucon Valley, and now the general chairman for next year's event, will be joining us to tell us what they're going to be doing next year, and you're going to want to find out more about it. All right, stay with us. It's the 2022 U.S. Senior Open about to unfold over the next 12 months at Saucon Valley. And we'll be back with Mimi Griffin and Dave Kennedy to talk all about it right here on Inside Golf.
The 24th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. 50 courses, over 300,000 yards. Check them out at montcogolf.com. By the First Tee, Greater Philadelphia, building game changers. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By Gap, celebrating amateur golf since 1897. By Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA section, the experts in the game and business of golf, and celebrating their centennial year. Take time to thank your local men and women PGA professionals.
Golf is the great equalizer. For many, this journey is an escape from reality, a chance to be part of a team, a career opportunity. PGA Reach impacts lives through golf by lifting people up, giving them hope, and sending them down an alternate path that they never saw coming. With PGA Reach Philadelphia, as in life and in golf, the most important shot you take is the next one.
They're not just familiar faces. They're your friends and neighbors. It's their small businesses, a beating heart that makes a neighborhood a home. The places with a pick-me-up or a story that inspires, where you can share a taste of comfort with a personal touch that makes our world shine a little brighter. Support small and make a big difference. Make it local. Make it Main Street. Make it Montco.
Welcome back to Inside Golf. Here we are at Saucon Valley with Mimi Griffin. Let's talk about, first of all, how you got involved in becoming, a big person when it comes to USGA events for a long period of time now, but it all began here at Saucon Valley. But before that, you were in the world of basketball. Pretty good player at Lancaster Catholic. You still hold the school record for most points in a game?
In my mind, I do. I'm not sure if that's technically
correct. And that's before
correct.
the three-point shot, right?
Yes, now that's true.
You and Pete Maravich never had the advantage of a three-point shot, but still set records.
Never saw a shot I didn't love.
University of Pittsburgh, played there, and summa cum laude in economics. I had 5 years of Latin, so I know that's pretty up there on the scale. MBA from nearby Lehigh, kind of located here to the Lehigh Valley.
Yes.
And then you began a career first with Manufacturers Hanover, doing special events, including a little bit of golf at the time. They had the Westchester Classic.
Right.
And then you worked for Converse, still related to basketball.
Yep.
And then you started your own promotions company in the early 80s, early mid 80s, MSG Promotions, and then began a long-time relationship with the USGA.
Started my own business in the early 80s. I like to say that basketball is my passion, golf is my living. So basketball has been in my blood forever, and it was a real privilege for me to be able to serve as a color analyst for women's college basketball for 17 years with ESPN and CBS and various other networks. But the golf is where I have chosen to pursue my living, my profession. And that started in the early 80s. I worked, actually before I got married, I worked at Manufacturers Hanover in New York City, and they were the sole sponsor of the Westchester Classic way back in the day, PGA Tour event. And so I worked with them in preparing and marketing that event. And then when I moved to the Lehigh Valley, and Saucon Valley was awarded the Senior Open in '92, the club knew about my background in PGA tournament golf and asked if I would be interested in running the championship here.
That was a memorable year for folks of my vintage, I guess. We can remember '92 is the year of Larry Loretti.
Yeah.
He won the Senior Open. Larry hadn't won anything before that. Sorry, Larry, but you didn't win anything after that. But Larry was a character, and he added, I think, a certain blue-collar image to the game of golf that people on the East Coast can identify with.
Absolutely.
He showed up with his own mobile van, and he wore a straw hat, smoked a big cigar all the time. You read up on stories, he said even at the top of his backswing, Larry Loretti has a cigar in his mouth, and he won by 4 strokes over a pretty good field.
Oh, a pretty good field. How about Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Chichi Rodriguez, Lee Trevino, Gary Player? I mean, all the iconic names in golf were here, and people loved him and cheered him on. And I think it was one of those flash in the pan moments, you know, your 15 minutes of fame all happening at the same time.
Absolutely. Somebody else that won the second time that the U.S. Open for seniors was held here was Hale Irwin. That was 8 years later in 2000, and you were involved, I guess, on a bigger scale because everything got bigger 8 years later.
Yeah, I've had the great fortune of being able to run each of the championships that have been here at Saucon, the 2 Senior Opens and the Women's Open, and this one in '22 will be my swan song for events at Saucon. So we're looking to do it even bigger than what we were able to achieve in '92 and 2000. 2009 we had the economy and the hard economic times to deal with, but we still had a really great Women's Open here.
Right. You have been involved with the USGA, not just here at Saucon, but literally all of their open venues for women and for men, seniors as well as regular tours. How did that all come about? I mean, I know, actually, you know, Far Hills, New Jersey is not that far away, the USGA headquarters. I'm sure that had something to do with it. But also, what you deliver for them in terms of corporate hospitality, the tents, volunteers, that all was under your umbrella, right, Mimi?
When we run events here, Harry, yes, we handle every aspect of the championship. In '92, that was the impetus for David Fay, who was the executive director of the USGA at the time. He had me come to Golf House to meet with him because he was really intrigued by how we were able to be so successful here in what he called the Little Lehigh Valley. And I explained that this is actually the perfect market for an event like the Senior Open. So that was my springboard, be able to work with the USGA on every US Open starting in 1995 as their director of corporate hospitality marketing. So my company has been the official marketer of corporate hospitality for the US Open since '95 and for the Women's Open since 2018.
Now you talk, the immediate men's US Open is going to be at Torrey Pines.
Yep, we'll be there.
In June.
Yep.
How much do you have to be on location prior to that, for instance?
Well, in a normal year, I usually travel to the venue at least once a month, and then as we get closer, much more frequently. But then we move on site usually 3 to 4 weeks in advance, and then we're there for the duration to make sure that everything that is being built for corporate hospitality is to the specs that the clients are expecting. So that's why we're there so early, to put all the finishing touches on the corporate hospitality venues.
All right, Mimi Griffin is our guest. We're going to be back with Mimi, and we're also going to be joined in our next segment with Dave Kennedy. Dave is a longtime member here, back to 1970, I believe, at Saucon Valley. So he knows the property. but he's also now the general chairman of next year's U.S. Senior Open. So we'll talk about that with Dave and with Mimi. Stay with us, more to come from Saucon Valley, home of the U.S. Senior Open in 2022. That's next year on Inside Golf.
For everybody.
There's more to the ultimate driving machine than you might think. Multiple forces converging to create something uncontainable. Introducing the ultimate first of its kind machine. The ultimate hair-raising machine. And the ultimate peace of mind machine. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in to lease a 2021 BMW 330i xDrive sedan for $439 per month.
Welcome back Inside Golf. We're at Saucon Valley, which next year will be hosting another USGA event for the 8th time. And it will be the 3rd time that the U.S. Senior Open is played on this venerable golf location. And speaking of that, Dave Kennedy, who at one time was the president here at Saucon, has joined us along with Mimi Griffin. And Dave, you go way, way, way back with Saucon. And next year you'll be the general chairman of the event, but that's because you probably know this facility and the golf here as well as anybody. What was your first remembrance of Saucon Valley?
So my parents brought me here in 1970.
How old were you?
I was 8 years old, and we had come in from Pittsburgh to the Lehigh Valley, and when I played tennis for 2 years, and then a bunch of us went over to the 6-hole course and started playing golf, and I never looked back.
There you go.
So
and
I've been
you're
playing
still,
golf ever since.
You're still looking forward,
Yeah.
especially 12 months from now.
Yes.
And this place will be a beehive getting ready for the U.S. Senior Open. You got a pretty trustworthy person here in Mimi Griffin helping you kind of steer the way. She's been there and done that. Not that you haven't, but
Not
how do you
helping us
two
steer
work?
it, she's leading it.
She's with the USGA now.
Yes.
You're the general chairman of the event. So you and Mimi have a lot of contact with each other getting ready, right?
That's correct. Mimi has done a fantastic job, as you talked about, with all of the tournaments that have been here, the national tournaments. And in the past, she had been working directly for Saucon Valley on the tournaments. With all of the changes, she's now working for the USGA. But as I like to say, she's working for all of us. And she's done a fantastic job, and I was humbled and honored to become the general chairman of this year's tournament.
What do you think, given COVID, we don't know what's going to happen, like what happened over the past 12 months, what's going to happen over the next 12 months. But in terms of a target, say, audience, number of people on these grounds, what are you looking for next year? Is it impossible to even give a number?
Yeah, no, we're going to be the eternal optimists here, Harry, and we're going to expect 22 to 25,000 people a day.
Every day?
Yeah, we had that in 92 and 2000. We had incredible, awe-inspiring crowds here. This Lehigh Valley and the surrounding area, central Pennsylvania, the Philly suburbs, they love their golf and they will flock to this for a few reasons. One, Saucon Valley is just the penultimate venue for this event. Two, with COVID, people are clamoring to be able to get out and to do something. And you know, as long as people keep getting vaccinated and we get clear of this pandemic, I think we're going to be uniquely positioned to really benefit from all of the factors.
Way back when in the first U.S. Senior Open that was won in '92 by Larry Loretti, we talked a little bit about that. That was quite a field. You had the big three. You had Palmer, you had Player, you had Jack Nicklaus, you had Lee Trevino, you had Chichi Rodriguez. You had all the big names, and Larry kind of just went his own little way and won the whole thing, surprised everybody, shocked the golfing world. And next year here, you're going to have the benefit of having some of the perennial guys, you know, who have been on the senior tour, but also a guy like Jim Furyk, who has some kind of ties. I mean, he was in
Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
where
Absolutely.
Mimi grew up. Jim will be participating. Who knows? Maybe he'll be the next year's Larry Loretti.
We'd love to see it because Jim Furyk obviously is a very accomplished golfer, but he's also a very popular Pennsylvania golfer.
Sure.
So that would be a neat thing.
And who else? Ernie Els.
Ernie
has already
Els.
been on the senior tour, but he'll be right there in the hunt.
Steve
Steve
Stricker, our
Stricker.
Ryder Cup captain.
Steve Stricker.
Who's also playing very well right now.
Yep.
Bernhard Langer will probably still be
be playing.
Game shape like he always is.
We hope Fred Couples is back as
Freddie, who everybody loves,
is working for him because everybody loves him.
Talk about the routing, and because of things like hospitality suites and corporate suites and things like that. Number 18, which is right behind me,
yes.
Again, will not be the 18th hole during the week of the tournament. So that's one change, minor change really, doesn't make that much difference, I don't think, to the competition. But another change, and work is underway as I look over here, is going to be called the 19th hole. And Mimi, is it your idea to come up with this? Tell us, first of all, what will the 19th hole experience be like?
The 19th hole is going to be an upgraded ticket area, Harry, and it's this huge, massive field in the middle of the three finishing holes, 16, 17, and 18. And what's really great about it is it's going to be wonderfully positioned. We're going to turn it into a festival-like area, and for a premium on the ticket, you'll be able to have access to it, but it will be an interactive area. We'll have a 9,000 square foot putting green that people can test their skills on.
Real grass.
Oh, not only real grass, but over 3 feet of elevation from one side to the other, and the putting surface will mimic those on the old course itself. We're going to have swing simulators. We're going to have concerts on Tuesday and Wednesday of the practice rounds in the late afternoon. This has never been done at any of the USGA events, where we'll have a festival going on in the middle of this major championship golf.
So this is potentially sort of like a test case, and you're going to incorporate it maybe in future USGA events, not just senior opens, but regular women's opens and men's opens.
Well, we're hoping, what we're trying to do to be able to entice people who obviously love golf, but even the casual golf fans, or even people who could care less about golf, there's going to be something here at Saucon Valley for everybody, and things that will add to the value of what you're going to see on the golf course. We want to entertain people first and foremost, and that means we've got to be able to provide them things that they would normally do on their own.
Well, it's going to be some week. I know you can't wait. Do you have a clock like in your home somewhere that's like a countdown clock?
Having grown up here, being at the club 50 years, last year we celebrated our 100th anniversary of the inception of the club. And next year we're very proud because it's the 100th anniversary of the opening of the old course. So what better way than to have another USGA national event on it?
And hard to believe, but 3 decades, 30 years since Mr. Loretti walked around here with the trophy and surprised, like I say, shocked the golfing world with that victory in 1992. That's your job, okay, Dave? Get Larry Loretti
back. Get Larry back. I'll work on it.
Get him out there in that. What an experience. He would be the 19th and a half hole.
He'll love it.
That's right. He'll be there. He'll be there.
We'll have him there signing autographs.
We actually expect many of the players to come visit that on Monday, Tuesday, and maybe even Wednesday because of Martin Guitars and some of the other reasons for the draw there. So we're excited about that.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are. Mimi Griffin, Dave Kennedy, thanks for joining us. Thanks for letting us get a sneak preview of what's coming up next year, 2022 U.S. Senior Open at Saucon Valley. Stay with us. More to come. We'll be back in a moment with our teed-off panel.
I love him when he's on our team.
Welcome back. Inside Golf continues. Time to meet our teed-off panel today at Lulu Country Club in Upper Dublin. And speaking of Lulu, we have John Rusk with us. John is general manager, among other things. He runs the whole place here at Lulu. Thanks for having us, John.
Appreciate you guys coming out.
Joe Logan. All I have to say is Joe Logan, and everybody thinks of myphillygolf.com. Joe,
good to be here.
A pleasure.
Thank you.
And from the Golf Association of Philadelphia, where he's in his first year as president of GAP, Oscar Mestre.
Great to see you,
Oscar, Patrick Reed gets a lot of criticism. Some of it earned, maybe some of it not so much earned, but he's always, it seems like anything he does, people are watching the guy. And yet, despite the criticism, he seems to deflect it and be able to concentrate on one thing, playing golf. I don't know if everybody's able to do that as well as somebody like Patrick Reed. Would you agree?
Well, there's no question not everybody is as good at it, right? So you're looking at the players on the tour, they're better than by far than most, right? They've all been very good at compartmentalizing. And, as the old commercial said, I'm no expert, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express once. So my opinion on that is that he's got such a strong self-belief and such a strong, affirmation that he has no time for guilt. He has no time for second guessing himself, and it's impressive. I think that, John and I, and who've competed against each other at times, we have nothing but second guessing, I'm guessing, and we question ourselves all the time. The difference to the next level player is they don't even come close to second guessing themselves, and they have a very short memory. He forgets it. He doesn't think it ever happened, and he thinks he's completely in the right all the time. It's the only way you can justify it.
John, you played college golf. You know tour players. You're competitive in GAP events now. Were you similar, or do you really appreciate what Patrick Reed can display?
I like Patrick Reed. I think he's got a core belief in himself. He believes in his work ethic. He doesn't care what you think. He wants to take your job and your money. And that's what he's there for. That's what he's trying to do and win. So I respect it. Do I like him? I don't know the guy, but I like when he goes out and plays and he basically says what he has to say to everybody else, and he's going to go beat you. So
like the little
I like
Rory at the top,
when he's
at
up
the
at
Ryder
top.
Cup.
I love when he's at the top of the leaderboard. Yeah, I think it makes good for golf and stuff like that.
Joe, as somebody who has watched Patrick his entire career, what are your thoughts on that?
I think at the very least he doesn't care what anybody thinks. If anything, he probably thrives on it. This is a guy who's been not very popular his entire life. I mean, all you need to know about Patrick Reed is he played on 2 college golf teams. University of Georgia, he left because no one would speak to him on the team. He went to Augusta State and left. When he graduated, no one would speak to him on the team there. When he won the Masters a few years ago, you know who did not celebrate with him? His family, his mother and father.
So he's a different cat when it comes to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dustin Johnson seems to forget about criticism from the media. He doesn't get much of it. I don't think hardly any compared to Patrick Reed. But even on the golf course, he has a couple bad shots, and like you said, short memory. I mean, he's got the shortest memory maybe out there, and Patrick Reed's right in the same boat, right?
Yes.
It's amazing.
I think Patrick Reed, to pick up on John's point, I find I love him when he's on our team. I love his act and his play in the Ryder Cup and the team events. I'm not so sure. I will watch him, but I'm not so sure I'm rooting for him when he's leading in an individual event.
Really?
But that's
you like him as a team player, but not necessarily
just because of the way he's been. That kind of personality.
Is it his boastfulness?
That boastfulness, that confrontational, that works in team events. I don't think that works on an individual event.
He's going to show up to beat you, and he's going to tell you he's going to show up to beat you.
Yeah.
Well, it started early. Remember, he won at Doral one year, and he said he considered himself one of the top five players. And everybody, who are you?
He's been in a hole ever since he said that with the media. Ever since he said it, but doesn't mean it's not true.
You can't say, John, except if maybe you're a certain player.
Well, I remember when he said that. My reaction was similar to yours. I know there were a lot of people who were offended that he would consider himself in the top 5. I looked at it as aspirational. The guy is a really good player, and he wants to be in the top 5. And the only way you get there is if you consider yourself part of the top 5.
Agreed.
And so I didn't fault him at all for that.
Sports psychology has been a part of every sport now. But it started out in golf a lot with guys talking to these psychologists about how to approach your game. What are you thinking about now? I mean, I bet this kid never even sat down for 30 seconds. He's been his own sports psychologist since probably his junior days.
He believes in himself. I mean, that makes him a winner.
Yeah. Well, we like winners for the most part, don't we, Joe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except maybe when they fall off the path a little bit. And he's done that too. Forget about boastfulness, right? Mm-hmm. Is that something he has to worry about maybe more than other people? I mean, when Tiger had 12 guys move a boulder in Arizona, that was okay. That was great. That was creative. Different strokes for different golfers. Thank you, panel. We'll be back. More of Inside Golf.
For over 2 decades, First Tee has created experiences that build character. We believe every kid deserves to feel supported, safe to try something new, and to be prepared for what comes next. We develop their swing, but more importantly, their inner strength. Because we know what's inside doesn't just count, it changes the game. Come join us at First Tee.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Golf. Thanks to Mimi Griffin, Dave Kennedy, and the folks here at Saucon Valley as they get ready. 12 months is going to go real quick, as you know.
Yes.
And this time next year, you'll be up against it, getting ready for the U.S. Senior Open here at Saucon Valley. And you've got some USGA events to take care of before then, right?
I hit the road. Yeah, I hit the road later
Torrey Pines.
Yeah, later in May. I go to Torrey Pines the end of May. Actually, I go to the Olympic Club the end of May for the Women's Open, then straight down to Torrey for the U.S. Open.
Okay, and a Senior Open this year is where, Dave?
It's in July. It's in Omaha, Nebraska.
You're going to be out there as general chairman
go
of
out
next
for-
year's event?
Yes,
Getting ready.
there'll be several of us that are volunteering in leadership roles that get a chance to go out there and spend a couple of days and
Well,
check it
good
out.
luck. I can't wait till next year.
Thank you.
And by the way, we didn't mention, in addition to everything she's done on television and golf, Mimi is also a member of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we're really being honored here by your presence. Thank you very much. That's going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue. And remember, no matter how bad it's going for you out there, don't pick up and get ready for the 19th hole experience in 2022 here at Saucon Valley during that week's edition of the U.S. Senior Open. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us here on Inside Golf.
The 24th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. 50 courses, over 300,000 yards. Check them out at montcogolf.com. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia, building game changers. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By Gap, celebrating amateur golf since 1897. By Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue, free, at jerseymanmagazine.com. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA section, the experts in the game and business of golf, and celebrating their centennial year. Take time to thank your local men and women PGA professionals.